GT Racing, Scuderia Ferrari Edition, the heart of the race.
Hello and welcome to round number 5 of the Formula SimRacing Pro Championship. Today we've got the French Grand Prix from the circuit Paul Ricard for 42 laps today in the intermediate category of Formula SimRacing. I'm your commentator Cameron Rodger, and today on cameras and commentator we have Felix van Delft.
Hi Cameron, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Unfortunately I'm not out there racing today, but there's no point with the pace that I had, so it's good to be in the commentary box to have a look at what these guys are doing from the outside.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here join me. Yeah, Paul Ricard is interesting track. The race length will be 42 laps. Lap length 5.8 kilometers. What do you think is going to be the main overtaking places here today, Cameron?
I think the single main overtaking place would be at the end of the second DRS zone on the Mistral straight into the chicane on the back straight. That's where we saw quite a few overtakes in the Academy race just about an hour ago now, and it's about a kilometre long DRS as well, so you get loads and loads of slipstream. And with the fast corners on this track, most people will be running a high wing setup, so the difference in the slipstream will be quite a lot coming into that chicane.
Yeah, obviously the cars, 933 brake horsepowers that they can unleash down the straight. Top speed, 370. Don't think they will be reaching that today. I think the drivers will top out 320 max, somewhere around that. Weight, 740 kilos. And they have two fuel mixtures to play with, obviously, the lean and the rich mix. They can use in the race to try and balance the fuel and use it where it's necessary and save it a bit more where they don't need it. And then obviously the boost modes, the race and the qualifying boosts, where they will probably only use the qualifying boost in qualifying and maybe a little bit for a few seconds in the race, but otherwise not, because they will blow their engines if they do. So yeah, qualifying has been going for about 10 minutes now. How have these drivers been doing?
At the moment, we've got the two ghost speeds of Tom Sadley and Marek Godek P1 and 2, and it's safe to say they're looking good for pole position today after the first lap or two from these drivers. They are a couple of tenths ahead of David Mocek and then their teammate Mateusz Coleman as well. So it certainly seems ghost speed are the ones to look out for here today.
Yeah, definitely they are. Ghost speed has been quick in the past as well. Results for Sadly, obviously, finishing second place for 3 times in a row now. China, Azerbaijan and Canada. Let's see if he will be able to keep up that good pace right now. Obviously on provisional pole position at the moment. It's a good place for him to be at the moment.
And our winner from last time out, Mark Hutchinson, has just got up to P number 5, but he's a half a second off Tom Sadley. They had a very close battle him, Tom, and David Mocek last time out in Canada for the win there. But it seems Mark not quite on the pace so far today. They're in 5th position for SimRacing. However, he is leading the championship by 17 points. So he does have a little bit of leeway in terms of the points after winning 3 of the races so far this season. The only other person to win a race is his teammate David Mocek, who's in P3.
Yeah. So Hutchinson definitely the guy to beat here, and so far, Vettel is doing a good job doing so. Let's have a look at his lap as he just started. Sector 1. Relatively okay. 22.8, gets the slipstream there from his teammate. That will definitely help him as he brakes very late coming into the chicane, hard on the curbs. Exit important, of course, as it's a little bit more of a straight coming up to the senior right-hander, fast right-hander. I think it's basically flat here in qualifying. Then the, I guess, most difficult part of the track. 2 very long corners. First one is a right-hander. The next one is a left-hander. Pretty long as well. Late apex for both of those corners. And a bit of a straight again coming up to the last sector. Second sector, 29.1. Last sector also a long left-hander again. Hard on the right-hand side tire. Last corner. Pretty tight, kind of hairpin-ish. And last sprint to the line. Finish his lap. And it will be a 26.444. So an improvement for his lap time. And furthermore securing a provisional pole position.
Yeah, the ironic thing is that he got slipstream in the middle sector, which is where the back straight is, but he didn't get purple in the middle sector. He got purple in sector 1 and sector 3, which makes me believe they probably have a higher wing setup, and then they're using the slipstream on the back straight to not lose too much time. But this is something that we've seen quite a lot recently. It sort of started a couple of years ago, and now teams are doing a lot more where they are slipstreaming, as we're seeing Mark Hutchinson do with David Mocek now as well, using their teammate. This is completely legal. You're allowed to slipstream others, and Mark is now coming to finish sector number 2, but he hasn't had the greatest first sector. It's not bad though. Still a couple of tenths off what he would need. And he's improved in the middle sector. Now we see him coming through these fast corners as well. And this is where you really need the downforce. You need the setup to be good. You don't want it to be oversteering or understeering. You want it to be just perfectly balanced through these corners, so you can get on the power nicely. He's got just 2 corners left. See if he can make an improvement. But he's P5, 7 tenths off pole. Such is the speed of Tom Satherley at this moment in time, and he's coming to open the DRS is Mark Hutchinson all the way to the line, straightest route, and he's gone to P3. That's a much better lap there, 26.7, and that is P3. And now David Mocek is starting his lap after helping Mark there, so we have to see what he does in a couple of minutes time.
Yeah, also Keen White on a lap, 22.9 first sector for him as he abandons that. So sorry, it's Matthäus Coleman that's on that lap as he goes wide coming into sector 2. So that's his lap done anyway. Marek Godek also on an out lap. Will be starting his lap soon. The rest of the track is relatively clear right now. Most of the drivers have 1 or 2 attempts left. Satherley even has 2 attempts left.
There are 2 attempts left with only 3 minutes,
Yeah,
so
they
haven't used all their allocation. Obviously, Mocek abandons his lap actually. But yeah, drivers have 12 laps, including in and out laps, so you basically have 4 flying laps. Obviously, you don't have to use all of them, but you definitely can't go over the limit. Which, in fact, Godek is the exact same, so it must just be the go speed strategy. And yes, Tom Satherley is going to be waiting up here to give Godek slipstream. So obviously they are sacrificing 1 lap to be able to do this and give slipstream to each other down this back straight. However, this isn't going to be the best
It's a bit too far back.
Yeah, a little bit too far back, but Godek will still gain a little bit. And what we've seen in the past couple of races actually is that Ghost Speed have been very quick in qualifying, but then lose it slightly in the race. So hopefully for their sake, they can try and be a little bit better in the race today. Godek doesn't exactly have a great middle sector. It's 3/10 off what Mark Hutchinson did in that middle sector as well. So we need to see if he can make that back in this last sector, because he did have fast first sector, indicating a wing difference, something you can get away with on this track due to the contrast of the corners. He's now got just one hairpin left, and this will be his final lap. He won't have enough time to get around again, so this is the final chance for Marek Godek. Where can he put himself for the grid today? He doesn't improve. And Tom Savley goes into the box, so that is not going to be an improvement for him either. So at the moment, it's Tom Savley, although he's trying to go out again, but he is not going to be able.
No way that he makes it to the to the finish line.
So is Mark Hutchinson. Interesting. He's going to be slipstreaming Motrek. That is why. So it's just, this is a very interesting play using their laps. Obviously, you don't want to go over your lap count trying to help your teammate, because then you'll get a DQ and you'll start from the back of the grid yourself. But let's see what Motrek can do. He's coming through this first sector. It's this really fast downhill chicane. Got to really get the front in on over the curbs in all these corners, and then this hairpin is very important as it comes onto this back straight. As close to flat out as you can through this right-hander and through the kink of turn number 6, coming onto this back straight, where we can see Hutchinson giving a nice slipstream there. Rotrek's going to get 331 just before he pulls out the slipstream down into 4th gear through the chicane. Very quick, keeps it in 4th. Pretty decent traction as well from that car. And he will be getting up to 8th gear. Most drivers will be taking this kink turn 9 flat out, which he does so. You lose about 10 kilometers of speed just from the scrub, and keep it flat out to the first apex. Let it roll around, get the throttle back on, and then very similar corner, but in the opposite fashion. Nice late apex on the power all over the curb. And what can David Motrek do? Let's have a look at his sectors. He's gone personal best in the middle sector, so this could be an improvement. However, he's probably only likely to displace his teammate for P3. What can he do in the final sector? Oh, he goes P2. He manages to get Marek Godek in that final sector as well. So that is P2 for David Motrek.
Yeah, great job from the ISIMRS driver there. And sadly, it's just crawling towards the end of the pit lane to park his car, as he gave his teammate a little bit of a slipstream. Mark Berends, I think, is the last driver on track to set a lap. He might be able to improve his time a little bit. If he has a good last sector, might be able to improve up to the top 10. Let's see. And indeed, a top 10 position there for Mark Berends from Ground Effect SimRacing team. So that's a good result for them. I guess he's happy with that. And yeah, sadly, pole position. Good start for his weekend, I would say, or his race will be to start from pole position, obviously. Then Rodger in P2 and championship leader Hutchinson only in P4. So he's going to have to fight his way a bit further up to the top to try and challenge the drivers for the win. Anyway, I think it's time for us to go for a short break. We will be back in roughly 5 minutes time. The drivers will be getting ready to start their race here in the warm-up session. So for you viewers at home, just grab a cup of coffee, grab something to drink, grab something to eat perhaps, and then come back in 5 minutes time to get ready for this race. We'll see you in a bit.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play.
Yeah. I play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race it for it.
So I have a hand.
And welcome back to round number 5 of the Formula SimRacing Pro Championship. We are here at Paul Ricard for 42 laps in the intermediate category. I'm your commentator, Cameron Rodger. Continued to be followed with Felix van Delft.
Hi there. I'm excited for this race here. 42 laps. Paul Ricard, we've seen in the Academy Championship that it can be quite interesting, especially the first few laps. Let's see how the pro drivers will cope with that.
Yeah, the turn 1 and 2 is actually really fast. The corners are a lot more open than the current layout in real life, so it means you're taking it sort of 5th or 6th gear, which means on lap 1, obviously you're coming to it a lot slower because you're at a standing start, and you don't actually have to slow down that much. So a lot of the drivers will be taking a lot of risks going into that first corner, and as we saw in the Academy Championship, it can end badly. So let's hope that we don't have the same for these guys today.
Yeah, as the drivers line up on the grid to start their formation lap. What do you think is going to be the most prominent strategy here today, Cameron? Obviously the drivers have the super soft, the soft and the medium tire available today. What do you think is going to be the main strat?
Well, the top 10 obviously have to start on the super softs, as that is the tyres they qualified on. And we'll probably see them get towards lap 15, 10 to 15-ish. They're going to need to go to about lap 15 if they even want to think about a one-stop by going to the medium tyres. Because as we saw in the Academy race, the mediums can go probably about 20-25 laps. So if you minus that from 42, yeah, you're going to have to go to about lap 15 or so. And I want to see what the people outside the top 10 are starting on once the tyre compounds load. It looks like they're going to be on the medium tyres, which means they're going to be very quick at the end of the race when they go onto the super softs. But I think most drivers will be doing a one-stop strategy with the most extreme options that we have here. I don't think many people will be using the soft today.
Yeah, I think, like you said, pretty much most of the top 10 obviously have to start on the super soft. So after that, probably we'll go to a soft or a medium, and then last into the end. But yeah, I think it's really good to keep an eye out on those drivers outside of the top 10, as I think they have quite a good advantage. If they can keep up with the top 10, the top pack, quite well, then they might have a chance to really gain some positions there. Anyway,
Yeah, so one
go ahead.
One driver to probably look out for is Christian Lazaro and João Pires, because they're P11 and 12, so they are the front people with those medium tyres.
Yep, for sure. So let's quickly go through the top drivers on the grid. Tom Sadley obviously in pole position, Rodger P2, Marek Godek P3, and Mark Hutchinson Championship leader in P4, Kian White in P5, Mateusz Kolman in P6, Kostas Kalnamatis in P7, and Victor Ivanov in P8, Tom Oldermenger in P9, and Mark Berends starting from P10. Then João Pitaï is the first on the medium tyres in P11, Christian Lazaro behind him, Roemer Tissing in P13, Bojan Bogdanov in P14, and then rounding off the grid is Alessandro Quintai, as he will get to his grid slot, and we await the lights to come on.
Yeah, we need to see what these drivers can do. These top two, Tom and David, they've had a bit of history, and they had a nice battle last time out in Montreal, so let's see what we can do today at the circuit Paul Ricard. And the lights are out and they are away, and it seems David Mocek has actually got a slightly better start than Tom Savley. However, he's going to have to try and go round the outside, and that isn't quite going to work, so Tom Savley is going to keep that into turn number 1 and 2, and it seems like top 5, 6 is the same, but there's some battles behind with Tom Oldermeyer and Kostas Galanomatis as well down the lower end of the top 10. It seems the medium runners have got away nice and safely as well. But as we come to the end of first sector, it is Tom Savley leading from pole position from David Mocek, and the top 5 is the same as well.
Yeah, good start here. Everybody through the first couple of corners very cleanly. Obviously a couple of battles. Tom Sadley is able to fend off Rodger and Marek Godek for at least the first sector here, as Victor Ivanov and Mark Behrens are going side by side through the chicane. That's a difficult spot to be, obviously. Through Signe is a corner where going side by side will not always end up very well. I can tell you that out of personal experience. As they go side by side, Victor Ivanov has to back out a little bit, but still has a bit of his front wing alongside coming into the long right-hander, but is able to, or has to, back out of that move for now.
And Hutchinson got overtaken by Kian White in the double right-hander of turn 10-11, but he managed to get back past him at the next corner. So Mark drops back slightly from Marek Godek, but still close enough. Although these guys behind at the lower end of the top 10 are very close, and he's going to have to watch out. Obviously no DRS for the first 2 laps of this race. You have to wait till lap 3 for that to happen. So these guys will just have to rely on slipstream for now.
Ooh, side by side there. Who's that? Kostas Galamatis, Mateusz Koolman. Kostas not really able to make the move stick, but might be able to do something here down the back straight. He's a bit closer to Mateusz Koolman and will have a bit more slipstream compared to Koolman to Kian White. So let's see what he's able to do. He's a bit too far back to do much, really. Behind him, Victor Ivanov again, trying to make the move on Mark Behrens. Oh, very close coming into the chicane. Bit of contact there even on the rear wing, or the rear tire with the front wing of Victor Ivanov. And Ivanov has to watch out behind him. Matthias and Christian Lazaro are closing in.
Yeah, it's good battle there between Victor Ivanov and Mark Behrens. They're still not going, actually, coming down to turn number 10. This is certainly a track where you can race at. Got nice long straights to use the slipstream to try and overtake, and you've got these long corners where you can stay side by side. It's not these sort of tight, twisty corners where you can't really race. So it is a rather nice track for racing. As we come to the end of the second lap, Tom Satherley has got a 0.8 of a second lead to David Mocek, but Mocek has dropped Godek about 2 seconds. So Godek not quite on the pace of these front 2. And if Mark Hutchinson wants to think about a win today, he's going to need to try and get a bit closer than he is at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. Somebody in the chat saying that he's thinking about getting into rFactor 2, as he can't stand the iRacing subscriptions. Well, I have good news for you. Honda SimRacing has its sign-ups open throughout the whole year. So have a look on our forums. The Academy Championship, obviously the Step Up or the Start Up Championships, which is open to anyone, has an entry fee of 15 euros out of the top of my head, and the rest, the cars, the tracks are all free. So yeah, have a look on the forum if you are interested to join our league. Now the field is settling down a little bit. Kian White still behind Hutchinson, Mateusz Koolman behind that, but I don't think they're really able to get close enough to make a move at the moment. Mocek still keeping up with Satherley pretty well. Gap between them not well, under a second even, so that's pretty well. Koolman, I think, is gonna get overtaken by Kostas Galamatis here. No, not yet. Kostas was thinking about it coming into turn number 2. Now out of L'École onto the Mistral Straight. Will have the DRS now, but the same goes for Koolman, as he's also right behind Kian White. All of these cars still packed very close to each other. Interesting to see, obviously, the drivers outside of the top 10, Ivanov and Pitaes, as we say that. I think Berends just got overtaken. No, Ivanov went off track there, so lost the position. Now Berends is going to try and go side by side with Tom Ondermenger. Tom is to back out of that. Now Ivanov also alongside and gets past as well. So 2 positions lost in just a few corners there by Tom Ondermenger.
Yeah, Mark Berends up into 8th place. That is a good start from him. Started down in P number 10 and he was down about P14 in qualifying just before we caught his lap right at the end. That he seemed quite happy with. But he's now up into the top 10. Obviously points do go to 15, so all of these drivers, should they finish, will get points today. But obviously the higher up you get, the more points you will be awarded. He was a late joiner into this championship this year. He did most of last season, but he missed the first couple of races this year, joining Ground Effect SimRacing, a new team here. Also, Tom Savley, wow, Tom Savley is really trying to get out the slipstream of Davin Rodger. And behind them, Mark Hutchison, who goes down the inside of Marek Godek.
Yeah, easy move there for
P
him.
number 3.
Simple move. Open up the DRS down the straight and get past pretty easily. Now his focus will be on trying to close the gap a bit to David Murchek. Has to pick up the pace to do so. We're 5 laps in and his last lap was about similar pace as the drivers before or in front of him. But needs to pick up the pace a little bit more if he wants to really get closer and perhaps do something with the strategy to try and get back into the fight for the lead here. And Murchek is also still closing in, and I think he keeps this close throughout the first sector. Might be able to do something coming out of Le Pole.
Yeah, these guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
So these guys are really pulling away from Mark Hutchison now. They've got a 3-second gap, so they are pushing hard. And as I said on the grid, these guys are fierce rivals, and they had a really good battle back in Montreal. Nice clean fight, which is what we like to see. And they're obviously pushing each other really hard. And is Tom going to do? He needs to be careful how many times he makes a move to get out the slipstream, because obviously you're only supposed to move one time. Use your line, but he didn't do it quite so aggressively on this lap. Victor Ivanov still stuck behind Mark Berends, but cannot quite get the overtake done. And as we saw in the Academy Series, the Netrex drivers, which is Victor's team, they seem to have quite high wings. So that's probably one of the reasons why he's struggling to overtake on the back straight, because Mark is out of the DRS. So he will be a little bit vulnerable, because his top speed will be slightly less.
Rodger again a bit too far to do anything down the main straight, but loses a lot of time through the first sector, Verrières, first corner there, and then down to turn 2. Also not very close, and sadly just manages to get a good exit out of here, and then is far enough ahead for Murchek to really do anything.
Now Hutchison in P3 is actually pulling away from Godek a little bit. So it seems Hutchison probably has the pace of the leaders, but Godek not quite. And he's probably going to be actually looking in his mirrors soon for Kieran White coming up behind. He's not quite had the performances so far this season. He did win a couple of races in the 3rd division last year before moving up to this division. where he won a couple more races as well. So he has got the quality with this strength of field. It'll be good to see him get a decent result today, down in MP5 at the moment. And that is a pitter. Who is that? That is Victor Ivanov after only 7 laps coming into the pit. So this is probably going to be a 2-stop for him. I assume he'll take the mediums and go really long.
Yeah, mediums for him. Yeah, he will have enough clean air, that's for sure. About 10 seconds behind Tissing even. I think even a little bit more, so he'll be able to push these tires as much as he wants, but probably will want to save them a little bit. Still 35 laps remaining obviously, so probably will have to do another stop unless he can take the mediums for 35 laps, which I doubt he will be able to do. Now Murchek, still too far to make the move on Satherley. Keeps close though, he keeps within that 1 second range all the time, but just doesn't get close enough to make the move. Satherley does very well out of L'École, the last corner coming onto the straight.
So looking at the medium runners, we've got João Pateas, who's literally... Oh, he made a little mistake there, but he was almost touching Tom Oldermenger in Sector 3. If he can keep this going, as we said earlier, this can work out of him, but Mark Behrens is helping him by being a little bit slow in P8 compared to the guys ahead. He's got about a 4-second gap to Kostas Galanamatis. This is really going to help Pateas and co behind him. We're going to be able to use that, or well, some sort of softer tyre later on in the race.
Tyres having a look down the straight. I think also Oldermenger will try something. Oh, a bit of contact there. Ooh, this argy-bargy, bumpy. Very close. Pitaes is now going up the inside. 3 wide for a second there, coming out of the chicane. Now 2 wide. Lazaro is also going to join in into this fight. Watch out, guys. 3 wide into this corner is never going to work. Ooh. Mark Behrens goes wide there a little bit. Also, Oldermenger. Pitaes goes first into Bosset. But really close racing and hard racing here between all these guys. Obviously Pitaes is on the medium tire, which will be getting a bit stronger here throughout the latter parts of this stint as the super soft tires drop off slightly.
Or Coleman into the pit lane. Matthias Coleman, who was in P7 or 6 even, has come into the pit lane, and what does he put on? He puts on the mediums. Mark Behrens is coming in as well. So these drivers not quite getting the super softs as long as they did in the Academy Championship. However, in Academy, obviously the race is shorter, so you have less fuel and therefore less or slightly less wear. Behrens onto the mediums as well. So as in Academy, medium. Oh, Davin Mocek is going to be looking for a move around the outside of the chicane. He's actually made it done with the slipstream and DRS. Didn't even need the braking zone. So just as I click back on him, he has got past Tom Savley. And the pole sitter now down into P number 2. And we saw this last time out where the Isomaris guys were slightly better in the race. However, it seems sadly does have the pace today. But with that slipstream, he couldn't do anything to hold David back. David's actually got a bit of a gap here. In Sector 3, so I don't know if Tom's struggling on his tyres already. This has been 10 laps. Let's see if he comes into the pit lane. Yes, he does. So Tom Savley is in the pit lane, and so is that Mark Hutchinson as well. Yep, Mark Hutchinson behind him comes in, and the two Oromia guys of Kian and Costa. So they're all of the top 6 are in now. So we've got Sadly onto the mediums. Oh, this is going to be tight. Oh, Kian. That. I don't. Yeah.
That's unlucky though. Sadly couldn't do much, but
What is Savley?
he should have waited, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I guess he didn't expect Keen to have to go for his pit box, but when they were side by side, he should have just backed off. There's nothing Keen could have done, really.
Unfortunately, you can't actually see where the other people's pit box is. You can see where yours is. There's a red square that drivers can see to see where their pit box is, but you can't see where other people's are. And trying to see if Tom Savley's got a bit of damage. I'm sure he would have a bit of suspension damage, but that's quite unfortunate. And obviously, people sitting in the pit lane do have to be careful when coming back out onto the fast lane. But Kian also kind of just went for it as well, didn't really try to avoid the situation, so I'm not really too sure how that would go down in the stewards room if that came to it. But that means Tom Savley, not only did he lose the lead on the last lap, but he lost about 10 seconds in the pit lane with that incident with Kian White, so he's down into 13th place. He's about 11 seconds behind Mark Hutchinson, who had a clean stop out on the mediums, and Godek comes in now, so let's see what Godek does. I assume mediums. Oh, it's changed. He's gone on to the mediums as well. But where does he come out with relation to Mark Hutchinson? It's actually quite a long pit lane here. A long time at 70 kilometers an hour, and he's going to come into the path of his teammate. Oh no, not quite. He is behind Coleman. So Coleman got quite a big undercut because Coleman was behind Godek. So Coleman has undercut his teammate there, showing just how important the new tyres are. So who is still out there? We've got Davin Mocek leading by some 14 seconds now to his teammate João Pates, but João and Christian behind him are on the medium tyres. So these guys are going to be going for at least, I would say, another 10 laps or so. And probably try and go to the soft or the super soft at the end. Do a nice simple one-stop strategy. Obviously, because they are on the higher fuel at the moment, the tyres will wear slightly more than the people pitting out. And does Mocek come into the pit this time? Yes, he does. We're down to 70 kilometers an hour. Through the little chicane. Now let's see what he does. I'd assume mediums. Got 31 laps to go. Oh, sorry, 30 laps to go because he's just completed that lap now. So I would say this is definitely possible, what these guys are doing. But it won't be overly easy. But should be possible indeed. Where does Mocek come out in relation to Mark Hutchinson? He comes out in the lead.
Yeah.
But I would say Hutchinson's ever so slightly closer.
Yeah, we won a little bit with the undercut, of course. But a few seconds, not a whole lot. And it's gonna be waiting for the second pit stop phase to see who's gonna come out on top there. Still 30 laps to go, so I think one stop for Mocek isn't possible. But you never know. We saw his teammate in Academy do 20 laps on a soft tire. So perhaps he's able to save these out a little bit more and go 30 on the mediums. We're going to have to wait and see what happens there, but I guess Mark Hutchinson definitely has to go for another stop.
Well, we'll see. In Montreal last time out, he was second for, pretty much the whole of the second half of the race, following Davin Mocek, and he managed to save his tyres which helped him at the end of the race. He managed to make the overtake work, and he actually had quite a bit of tyre wear left. Looking at the log files, so Mark is definitely one of the better drivers on the grid for saving tyres, and he's only 2 and a bit seconds behind his teammates. So we'll have to see how that works out. So in the first stint, it did seem that David had a bit more pace.
Right, so Lazaro still close to Pitais, but not close enough to make the move just yet. Like we said before, these guys will be going long on their first stint as Bogdanov and Rodger are battling. Rodger easy pass for him down the straight. Obviously on the fresher tires compared to Bogdanov. Field settling down a little bit now after the first pit stop phase, just waiting for the medium runners to go for their pit stops, probably in roughly 5, maybe a little bit more laps, and then we have to see what happens where they rejoin, if they will be able to go to the end on a set of soft tires, for example, from there on.
So looking back at Tom Sadley after that pit lane incident, he's now down in 13th place. Just checking his lap times compared to well, the people that he should have been around. Oh, Kian White DNF. Maybe you can get a replay of that, Felix.
Yeah, I think he already still had damage from the incident with Sadley in the pit lane. Let's see if I can find what happened to him. There we go, spun it coming out of L'École, and then just decided to give up. Parked the car, didn't bother trying to get back to the pit lane.
Yes, Shane Kim was in a good position, but unfortunately that pit lane incident did hamper his race. And after looking at Tom Sadley's times, yeah, he's definitely slower. He's slower than his teammates Coleman and Godek by a fair bit as well. Best part of well, not really a second, about half a second or so. So he's clearly not quite on the pace. It looks like he may have a tiny bit of damage, but the steering seems pretty straight. Generally the steering will be off if you have some sort of suspension damage.
Yeah, Tessini's got to get overtaken here by David Rodger. Previously dissing one of the medium runners. Not much he has to do here. Goes defensive coming into the chicane though. Will it be enough? Rodger has the outside line and brakes late. Nice move there.
Ah, I thought Roma was going to keep his nose in there. And Roma, teammate of Tom Sadley, so he's not going to want to give this one up. And he's fighting it round the outside of turn number 9. That's a lovely move by Roma, has to be said. This is definitely a bit of a team-to-team rivalry right here. These two teams fighting it out for both championships. Drivers and constructors. Roma here putting up a good fight, and they're going to go side by side into this penultimate corner, but Mocek manages to get him there.
Rumor will get a good exit though. Has the DRS. Doesn't have the DRS. The action point is earlier, of course. And that gives the DRS to Mocek. Will be enough. Ooh, I don't know. Rumor sticking close to him. Ooh, goes a bit hard over the curb there. Almost loses the car. Coming into turn 1. And now definitely has lost quite a lot of time. Will not be able to make a move down the main straight. Vitaes has been able to pull out a bit of a gap to Christian Lazaro now. As we wait for them to make their first pit stop. Coleman is going to make the move on Bogdanov now.
So since making the pit stops the leaders, what is now Davin Rodger and Mark Hutchinson, in terms of when all the pit stops have been made, they've gained about 3 seconds on João Pateas, showing just how important the new tyres are. But his lap times are very consistent, I have to say. Or Quinte pits.
And also Bogdanov.
Takes another set of the medium tyres.
Interesting. He's gonna have to stop again for sure. I guess a last stint, very short last stint with supers. Bogdanov goes to the supers. So he's gonna go for another stop for sure as well. He's probably gonna go double supers. Let's see where that puts him. Usually has a lot of free air now to really push those super softs to the max. We'll be getting an undercut on all the guys that haven't stopped yet, obviously, with that. Tissing and Hutchinson. Hutchinson got past on the main straight, or the back straight there.
And not much Roma can do this time round. He can't re-attack in the same way that he did to David. By starting last, this is probably just a bit of fun for Roma. However, points are still on the table, obviously. Going down to P15 for the points. And Roma is in as well. What does he take? He takes these super soft tyres. 25 laps here, so he's going to be needing to do 2 sets of those as well, like Bogdanov. He's going to come out behind Quinte. That's P13 for Roma. In a few laps' time, Rodger is actually going to have made up a whole pit stop on João Pateas, his teammate, just showing the speed that he has. So this alternate strategy, probably the best that they could hope for from João and Christian. However, it's not going to gain them many places.
Rodger has catched up to Christian Lazaro. Will be. Ooh, was thinking about making the move coming into Verrières, but decided to not make it just yet. Now coming into turn 2, chicane. Waits as well. Probably will be making the move out of L'École onto the Mistral straight to make his move. Surely Lazaro isn't gonna make much of a fight. He will just lose time by doing so.
It's a shame Christian is down here after his pretty good performance in Baku a couple of races ago. It seems that Invictus aren't quite on the same level that they were there. However, I'm sure he can turn it around as the season progresses. We got a couple of good tracks coming up. We got Silverstone next time out, and then the Hockenheim Ring as well.
Yeah, obviously very iconic tracks. Silverstone is always providing us with very good action. So I'm very excited to see what's gonna happen there. Now, when are these drivers going to pit? It has 21 laps now on this set of medium tires. I guess surely in the next couple of laps. Maybe like 3-4 more and then go to the soft tires and go to the end.
Mark Hutchinson now getting past Lazaro as well. Just as Mojek did a couple of laps ago. Mojek is now only 2 seconds behind João Pates. And then Coleman's soon will be coming for Lazaro as well. So yeah, I do wonder, Coleman's gone into the 33-34s now, so he's really losing some lap time, so I wouldn't be surprised if he comes into the pits on this lap. Though that still leaves 22 laps to the end, so to make a one-stop work, that's pretty difficult.
Yeah, for sure. Sadly is now caught up to Kostas Galanamatis. He'll be trying to get past him, but Sadly's race obviously gone from pretty well, starting from pole position to now being down in P9 after the incident in the pit lane with Keen White.
Yeah, he's probably lost about another 3 or so seconds since then on pure pace. That's not too bad considering he definitely will have a tiny bit of damage, but I don't know if that will cost him too much lap time. But not really what he wanted at all. So just brought the championship the championship table, and Mark Hutchinson leading with 92 points, followed by Tom Sadly with 75, and then Davor Mojek with 62. So it's definitely these three going for the title this year, as in 4th place is Christian Lazaro, who's had a P3 and a P5 the last 2 races. So he's not quite on his form today, considering he still owes us a pit stop, being in P number 5. So if Sadly is down in 9th place, that's going to be getting him 7 points. So that's really going to be a big jump if Mark can. I mean, if Mark finishes 2nd, that'll be 17 points. They're basically doubling the gap that he already has at the top of the Drivers' Championship.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult race for Sadly from this point onwards. Still 20 laps to go.
And in the constructors as well, it is pretty close. Isamaris have 158 points, Ghost Speed have 127, and then there's a jump to Invictus on 66. So again, it's really Ghost Speed and Isamaris leading the way in this Pro Championship this year. The way the constructors works, only your 2 highest scoring drivers score points. So as we see with ISMRS, they have 3 drivers. Yeah, they got 3 drivers in this race, and obviously only the 2 highest of those 3 will be scoring points. That way teams with more drivers can have it, but they don't get an advantage in the Constructors' Championship.
Satherley's really struggling behind Kostas Kalamatis here. Can't really find a place to get past him. Kind of stuck behind him and definitely hurting his race even more. Now, when is Pita gonna come in? He just stayed out for another lap. 19 to go.
God, Christian is now 2 seconds a lap slower than João Pateis. So he's obviously staying out to try and get to that one-stop window, as it's still a little bit too early. But João, 2 seconds quicker, really showing the better tyre wear, the better, I guess, pacing himself.
Yep.
Over the course of the 23 laps so far. And Mark Hutchison is getting past João as we speak. To the chicane on the back straight.
Hutching, of course, was one of the relatively early pitters. Lap 9 for him. So let's see what he's going to do. Because I think he needs to do another stop as well. 34, 33 laps. A bit much on those mediums. See when Rodger and Hutchinson will come into the pit lane for their second stop. Obviously, compared to Pitaas, I think Pitaas is not in a very bad position. Considering he's only 3 seconds, or not even, he's 2 seconds behind Hutchinson now. And they will pretty much pit around the same time to go for their last stint, I think.
On Victor Ivanov is making a move on Christian Lazaro. God, Christian can barely make around that chicane. I do think Christian's tyres are right at the limit of what they should be doing. Well, Victor comes into the pit lane. So, Victor,
Early stop,
how many
first time as well for him.
laps? That's at about 18 laps. And so it's about 18 laps to go to the end as well. So that's obviously quite a planned, regulated two-stop strategy from Victor. That's going to be a nice, more comfortable stint to the end, knowing that he'll have the same amount of laps to do but on less fuel. And just ahead of him is Bogdanov on those super soft tyres. However, he will need to pit again for what we assume is another set of super softs. And now Tom Satherley's got past Christian Lazaro as well.
Yeah,
Sadly doing mid 31s. Last lap, Christian Lazaro 34.7. 3 seconds a lap. Not quite sure this is working for Christian. He's also lost 12 seconds to João Pateis after only being a couple of seconds behind.
I think Pitaas is in, yep.
Soft tyres, I'm going to guess.
too early. Yep.
Yes.
16 laps to go. That should be very decent for him to do on the soft set. Now the big question is, what will Rodger and Hutchinson do? They're gonna stop again. Are they going to pick up the pace? Because Pitais is gonna get an undercut if they don't stop soon.
Yeah, Galan and Mattis is in as well. This is a teammate of Victor Ivanov. Pretty similar strategy. So it seems that is just the Nerex Oromir way for today's race. Have to see how that works out though. How that one stop plays out. This might have actually been quite good from Zhao, because that's 7 seconds ahead of Victor Ivanov, and he's got the same laps to the end, but he's on the softer tyres. So if he can keep those soft tyres going, he'll be a bit quicker as well. This is probably quite a good choice. And we know that people like Roma still need to pit, Quinte needs to pit, so we need to look out for Pitais as the race goes on. But for now, Coleman is in the pit lane. What does he take? Another set of the mediums. When did he pit? Okay, so he's doing similar to the Nerex guys, but Bogdanov now has DNF'd. That is a shame for Bogdanov.
Let's see if I can find out what happened to him. Probably some sort of crash. See. No, just parked the car. Parked the car, went home. Decided to pack it up for today.
It's a shame because even if he finished, he would have got points. But with where he was with the strategy and still needing to make another pit stop, he really wasn't going to do much more than 13th, 14th place.
Yeah, P7, Alessandro Quintai and Mark Berends battling. Tom Olderminger involved as well. Berends going first into senior.
Mark Hutchinson's in, so he is not doing a one-stop strategy.
Yeah, I think for him that would be expected. He did a very early stop.
Where will he come out? Because Mark Brands comes in, so that's going to help him a little bit. That's one driver out of the way. And Quinte as well, dissing. Okay, so it's not too bad for Mark Hutchinson. Cars ahead of him still need to make pit stops. So he will get a couple of positions from that. However, Tom Savley, I have to see what he's doing, because he could come back into play if he stays out to the end of this race. Up into P3 now for him.
Now, who of these drivers still are going to pit, and when are they going to pit? Godek could go to the end, perhaps. Same from Rodger. Saturday is a stretch. I guess he's going to stop soon. Lazaro for sure is going to stop. He's on 28 lap old mediums now. Quintai is also going to have to stop because of tire regulations. He just did 2 medium stints. And Olderminger, I think, is the same as Hutchinson. Probably also need to do another stop. So let's see what's going to happen here. Pitais is in a good spot if all of those drivers are going to stop in front of him. At least a couple are. So see where he will be able to come out after all this pit stops filter themselves out.
Roma is in again. He only did 10 laps.
Yeah, he did the double super soft stint, as far as I remember.
Yeah, but he obviously has 13 laps to go now. So slightly longer than what he did. So if he was tyre limited, he's going to have to push it a little bit more. Get to the end on these.
Hutchinson is going to get past Tom Ondermenger down the straight now. I think Quintana is also going to get past Bogdanov, or Lazaro, sorry. There we go. Straightforward moves.
You can just see the extra grip that Mark Hutchinson has on Christian Lazaro. The Mark is quite a patient driver, so he'll probably just wait till a safe opportunity. No point of risking any sort of damage or time loss. And will Christian come in the pit lane? Yes, he does. So he has 13 laps to the end. Let's see, or 12 laps now. See what he takes. I'd assume super softs. Yep, he goes for the super soft tyres. And behind him, Tom Ondermenger doing the exact same.
It
seems like it seems like a slightly longer stop. So he may have pressed, because you have to press pit request. If you don't do that, your pit stop will be slightly longer because the pit crew won't be ready.
Now Pitas is right behind Hutchinson. Obviously Hutchinson has the fresher tires, but I think Pitas will be at least trying to battle with these guys.
Yeah, this is 4th position. So Zhao has done a really good job to be up in P number 6, and it might even be P number 5. Now that Tom Savley is pitting. Savley goes to the super soft tyres. And Quintana needs to pit, so this actually could be P4, legitimately for João Pateas, with that amazing stint on the mediums to start with.
Has to watch out for Coleman though, he's going to the end as well. Yep, he is, so he might be able to just sneak in there and take the position from him. Now Hutchinson getting past Quintai. Straightforward move. As Coleman is trying to get past Pitas down the straight and not able to do so. Just a little bit too little top speed for him.
You can see Coleman trying to get off the same line as Pateas. Try and get away from the dirty air, which will make him slide. And Godek's in. Marek Godek is in. He couldn't make his tyres last either. He goes to the super soft tyres. Means Mark Hutchinson will retake P2 in this race. And is Zhao going to get Godek? Yes, he does. This is actually a net P3 for this battle between João Pateas and Matthias Coleman.
Yeah, it is. Quintai will drop away. And now it's the wait for Rodger. What is he going to do? Is he going to try it? It's 10 laps remaining. You have to do 30 laps on the medium tires, I guess.
It's
theoretically
possible.
It's possible, yeah, for sure. but it's a stretch.
Oh, and João Pateas gets past Quinte in the chicane, and Coleman has to check up. Loses a bit of time in the second apex of that chicane, and this has given Pateas a little bit of a gap as well. That's an interesting strategy from Coleman going through turn number 9. He's going to dive it down the inside actually. Turn number 10, and he's going to make that stick move. Coleman just kept it flat out, but downshifted to slow the car down with the engine braking. And now the positions are worked out. You can see that this is a legitimate battle for Pateas and Coleman. As we said on the formation lap, these were a couple of guys to look out for. And Quinte comes into the pit lane. We would assume for the super soft tyres as well. No, the soft tyres. With only 10 laps to go, he's gone for the soft tyres. But if he was only getting 15 laps or so out of the mediums, then that kind of makes sense, because he's obviously struggling a little bit with the tyre wear. And after all this, Tom Savley is also up into P number 7 fairly comfortably. He's got a few seconds either side of him. And Margodic is slipstream. Viktor Ivanov goes down the inside at the end of the DRS zone. Viktor Ivanov out on those medium tyres, pitted 9 laps ago now. He'll be going to the end on those. Margodic on those super softs. Just pitted much quicker, and he's now going to be chasing down his teammate 6 seconds up the road. Or in fact, it's less than that, it's about 4.5 seconds up the road. In 8 laps should be doable. With the difference on tyres, just depends if he can keep the speed going for the whole 8 laps. It seems from his teammates, Tom Aldermeyer stopped slightly longer because he was repairing a little bit of damage.
Now, Rodger, what's he gonna do? He's got, well, about 30 seconds, a little bit less, 29, 28 seconds to Hutchinson. If he does a pit stop now, he will be able to go to fresh super softs and push really hard on them. Or he can just coast on this set of mediums that is pretty worn out. Maybe even drive a few seconds off the pace. But he'll still be able to get to the end of the race with this set of tires in first place. So, pretty comfortable position that he's in right now.
Yeah, the pit lane being quite long, it actually leans away from making that extra pit stop if you can make the tyres last. And obviously a couple of guys couldn't make the tyres last, but if David can actually make this work, I mean, that's 7 laps left, so he could be best part 4 seconds a lap slower.
Yep.
Just to make sure he gets to the end. But looking at the last laps, Hutchinson was actually over a second a lap quicker. Although with a 28-second gap, it probably will be worth Mocek staying out. And the fact that he's gone this long as well would suggest he is going to stay out. Fastest lap of the race is actually by Tom Satherley, showing he did have the pace today. about that incident with Kieran White in the pit lane, removing any chance of him getting a good result. And he's still only about 12 seconds or so behind Mark Hutchison, which is what it was after that pit stop incident, so he'll be ruining a little bit of a mistake, I think.
Golden Manger, very close to the gearbox there. Rumour Tissing side by side coming through turn 9. That's a difficult place to do, and it's not an easy move for him. Nice little battle here, both of these drivers usually on roughly the same strategy.
They were actually teammates last year at Ghost Speed before Aldermeyer decided to join TCS off, and they were actually with me down in when the Pro Championship was the 3rd tier. We were down there having good battles. Good to see him now moving up, and Tom's going to get close, but not quite on this occasion into turn number 1 and 2 because it's such a short braking zone. It's actually a bit difficult to outbrake someone. You have to really be alongside going into turn number 1 to make a move stick.
No.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
Marek Godek is caught up to the back of João Pateas, and on those super soft tyres, he's going to be looking to make a move stick. João trying his best to get back past Coleman. Those positions have reversed. Oh god, yeah, Godek's got so much more grip coming through this first sector. Oh, and Coleman sliding a little bit there, coming out of the hairpin, and Godek's definitely close enough to at least think about a move. Though lost a little bit of time there through that final kink. So maybe not on this lap, but it'll be Pateas actually. Looking at Coleman, as Coleman has no DRS. He's going to try and go round the outside. That's, oh god, I thought it was going to be a bit of contact. But he managed to make that move. And he's now back up into P number 3. Then Coleman had to back out that at the first apex because it's a really quick entry into the chicane. It's about 4th gear for most people. And Coleman's struggling here a little bit. He probably will let his teammate go. See if he can try and get past both of these guys in the remaining 4 laps of this race. And Tom Alderming actually managed to get past Roma on that last lap while we were looking at fight for P3. Seems like Felix's microphone likes to make noises, so while he sorts that out, we will continue on. And Roma actually lost a bit of time there, so I think Tom will be looking good for that. Oh, and Coleman has gone. He went for quite a late lunge there onto his rival Pateas, driving quite aggressively, but he's going to have to, because if he does not, he's going to be getting overtaken by Marek Godek on the super soft tyres. Coleman's looking for every single gap, but the unfortunate bit is he's driving. Oh god, he blocks off his teammate there a little bit as well. But he's driving so aggressively that he's actually losing time. Because every time he goes into a corner slightly too quick, on the exit he just loses all that time that he gained. And Viktor Ivanov actually is closing on these guys a little bit as well. We now have 3 laps to go in this French Grand Prix, round number 5 of the Pro Series for 2019.
Yep. And microphone should be fixed now. Does great job he's done so far. Just needs to get together for another 3 laps, and Rodger, of course. Well, strategy-wise, on top at the moment.
Let's see what these 2 Ghost Speed guys do on this back straight. Pateas is going to be a sitting duck pretty much without that DRS, so Coleman has finally got his car up the inside. And he's made the move stick into the chicane. So has this given Godek an opportunity? Although Pateas, I think Pateas actually might be using some quali boost there, because he has got a nice run on the inside, but he's got a really tight. Oh god, he had a really tight apex, and Coleman actually kind of kept the position by going off the track there. So that was a little bit naughty, but it's meant that Godek has got past as well. Pateas did take a really tight line into there, and he's actually going to be having to think about Viktor Ivanov with these last 2 laps of the race coming up as well. But it's just a straight fight now between Godek and Coleman for the final place on the podium. We did think it would be Rodger, Hutchinson and a Ghost Speed on the podium, but we didn't think it would be one of these 2. It'd be good to see which one of these brings out on top. Looks like there is no team orders about. This is just straight up.
Ivanov is
Who
going to
is better?
Ivanov is going to get past Pateas as well, I think. Pateas, his tires are done. You could see it coming out of the last corner. It's pretty much he's turned in, but nothing happened. So I think this last 2 laps are going to be very difficult for him.
Oh, sorry, Coleman had a massive slide coming through that hairpin, and he's now side by side with his teammate. I think he's still gonna. Oh yeah, Godek's still gonna get the DRS, and this is going to be. He's going to have to outbrake his teammate. Actually, no, he'll get that done. Will he? It's hard to see. Although in the background, Viktor Ivanov as well, thinking about going down the inside of Pateas, doesn't quite work. But big battle here with 1.5 laps to go. The final place on this podium. It really could be any one of these 4 drivers at this moment in time. God, Coleman goes off again. It's 2 laps in a row. He's been all the way out there. Viktor Ivanov's trying to go around there. Oh, I couldn't quite make that work. He's definitely got some more speed than Pateas. As we come on to this last lap of the race, Rodger is in Sector 1, but we will see what these guys can do. Although it seems Godek has that position covered. Coleman, big slide again. Really pushing these tyres to try and keep in 4th position. And Savely is actually coming towards the back of these guys as well now, because they have been fighting so much.
Yeah, meanwhile for P8, Kalamatis and Behrens are battling a little bit. But as this is the last lap, let's keep an eye out on Rodger. He's almost entering the last sector already.
Yeah, and what a performance has been from David Rodger. He seems like not only was he the fastest, but he was able to manage his tyres well enough. No one else has tried a one-stop strategy apart from Pateas to the same extent. He's really made these tyres work, and he's just got a couple of corners now to take his 2nd win of the season and put himself really back in the championship hunt after a DNF in Azerbaijan. He's going to take his 2nd win of the season at the French Grand Prix for the SimRacing driver after 1 hour and 4 minutes. We have to look back quite some way to Mark Hutchinson, his teammate, who's won the last 2 races, but he'll have to settle for P2 today, coming out of this final corner for the Irishman, but he will still keep his championship lead going into Silverstone in 2 weeks' time, and then Marek Godek with a nice performance in P3.
Coleman and Rodger, Coleman has had some sort of incident with his teammate, I think. Yeah.
Coleman's run out of fuel.
Oh wow.
Coleman
okay.
ran out of fuel. And Zhao's engine has blown as he's got to the end, so he judged that to perfection as well. So just run you down. Zhao Patias ended up getting P4, Victor Ivanov P5, sadly P6, Kostas Galanamatis in P7, Berens in P8, Quinte in P9, Lazaro in P10,
Yeah, I'll try to
Tom
get-
Oldemanga P11, and Roma Tishing getting P12. And Coleman will still get the points because he will still be classified, but he did run out of fuel on that last lap.
I'll try to get a replay of what happened in that last lap. Let's have a look right now. Here we go. If it works. Let's hope so. Yep. So Coleman and side by side with Pitaes. Oh, he realized he had no fuel. Almost Victor Ivanov that run into the back of him there. Yeah, that's a bit of a miscalculation from him. Definitely not helping his race. And then Pitaes was able to just keep Ivanov behind him for the last couple of corners. Yeah, so good race for David Rodger, winning his second race of the season. Obviously, very good strategy and very good pace on those tires, keeping them so well managed for so long. So definitely props for him. Now, coming up obviously in about 1.5 hours time is the World Championship. 18:30 GMT, round number 5. Obviously the main event of the weekend. And make sure you tune in for that. We will be back with that. Your commentators will be Corey Dyer and Lewis McGlade. I'll be the cameraman there, so I'll see you there again. For me, I think we're done. Cameron, do you have anything to close it off here?
Well, just another nice performance from Isomaris, who will take some good points into Constructors' Championship as well. And we'll have to see what they do in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, obviously Silverstone then will be the next track, round 6. The drivers will be getting ready for that as soon as possible, of course. For now, this has been the Pro Championship. I've been Felix van Delft, together with Cameron and Rodger. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in just over an hour's time for the World Championship. Until then, take care.